Hello students, this video is a continuation of my previous video on lateral ventricles. In my previous video, I explained you that the lateral ventricle has four parts: the central part or the body, the anterior horn, the posterior horn and the inferior horn. Okay, I explained you in detail about the central part or the body. Now we'll proceed further in this video. We'll talk about first the anterior horn. Okay, now this was the this was the central part. Okay, the central part of the lateral ventricle. This is the anterior horn, this is the posterior horn and then the inferior horn. So I explained you about the central part. Okay, that is the body of the lateral ventricle. Now I explained you about the anterior horn. Okay, now the anterior horn. So the central part was present on the parietal lobe. Okay, was present. It was occupying within. It was occupying the parietal lobe. And it was present within the parietal lobe. Okay, but the anterior horn. Okay, the anterior horn is location is the frontal lobe. Okay, the location is the frontal lobe. Yes, and this anterior horn is the anterior extension of the central part. So you can see this is the central part and this anterior horn is the anterior extension of the central part. So this is the central part and anteriorly if we extend the central part is your anterior horn of the lateral ventricle. So this lateral ventricle, the anterior horn of the lateral ventricle is present in the frontal lobe. Okay, and it is an anterior extension of the central part. It extends from the interventricular foramen to the posterior surface of the genu of the corpus callosum. Now, you know anteriorly is the genu of the corpus callosum and posteriorly is the splenium. Now we are talking about the anterior horn. So what would be the extent? It is from the interventricular foramen. Okay, this is the interventricular foramen to the genu of the corpus callosum. Now if you imagine here, this is the corpus callosum here. So anteriorly is the genu of the corpus callosum. Okay, so location is frontal lobe. Okay, the location is frontal lobe. So if you see here also, so this is the corpus callosum. Okay, this is the corpus callosum, this is the genu. So this is the frontal lobe. So if you imagine, here is the anterior horn of the lateral ventricle and it extends from the interventricular foramen to the genu of the corpus callosum. So if I take, suppose here is a lateral ventricle, so here would be the anterior horn, then the trunk. Okay, this way. So trunk, that is the central body or central part of the corpus callosum. Anterior extension is the anterior horn of the body of the lateral ventricle. Clear? Now, so it extends from the interventricular foramen to the genu of the corpus callosum. Genu is one of the part of the corpus callosum. Clear? So remember this. Anterior horn is present in the frontal lobe. Okay, the anterior horn is present in the frontal lobe and extends from the interventricular foramen to the genu of the corpus callosum. Now we take the coronal section. This coronal section, if we take on the of the anterior horn, we are taking the coronal section of each part of the lateral ventricle. So in my previous video, I discussed about the coronal section of the central part or the body of the lateral ventricle. We'll proceed here with the coronal section of the anterior horn of the lateral ventricle. Clear? Now, if we take the coronal section of the anterior horn, this coronal section is triangular in shape. Okay, this coronal section is roughly triangular in shape, as similar to central part. So if we take the coronal section of the central part and the anterior horn, it is triangular in shape roughly. It is having roof, floor, anterior wall, medial wall and lateral wall. So it will have the roof, the floor, The anterior wall, the medial wall, and the lateral wall. Okay. Now, what is the formation of roof? Roof is the under surface of the anterior part of the body of the corpus callosum. Okay. So, the roof would be the body of the corpus callosum. Okay. So, suppose this much is the lateral ventricle. The roof is the trunk of the corpus callosum. Trunk is the body of the corpus callosum. So from genu, so this is the genu to the interventricular foramen is the anterior horn. Then comes the body of the lateral ventricle. So suppose this is the genu, here is the lateral ventricle, and this is the interventricular foramen. Okay. So from here to here is the anterior horn of the lateral ventricle. And if you are taking the coronal section, so the roof will be formed by the trunk of the corpus callosum under the surface of the anterior part of the body of the corpus callosum. So the roof of the coronal section of the anterior horn of the lateral ventricle is formed by the body of the corpus callosum. Clear? See, this is, if you imagine, this is the interventricular foramen. Here is the anterior horn, this much. So anterior horn, you can see anteriorly it is having genu of the corpus callosum. And we take the roof, okay, the roof is by the body or the trunk of the corpus callosum. So that forms the roof of the anterior horn of the lateral ventricle. Okay, now we'll go to the anterior wall. Okay, what is the anterior wall formed of? The anterior wall is genu of the corpus callosum. Yes, very simple. So suppose this is the anterior horn of the lateral ventricle. This is the coronal section, which is roughly triangular in shape. Okay. The anterior wall is formed by the genu of the corpus callosum. The roof is formed by the trunk of the corpus callosum, the roof. But the anterior wall, okay, it's a triangular shape. So anterior, posterior, roof, floor, medial and lateral, this way. So we are not considering the posterior wall, we are considering the anterior, medial, lateral, roof and floor. So the roof is formed by the trunk of the corpus callosum, which I have shown in the diagram. Now the anterior wall is formed by the genu of the corpus callosum. So this is the genu of the corpus callosum. This is forming the anterior wall of the anterior horn of the lateral ventricle. This is the anterior horn of the lateral ventricle. So anterior wall is formed by the genu of the corpus callosum. The floor is formed by the rostrum of the corpus callosum. Okay, the floor is formed by the rostrum of the corpus callosum. So you can see easily here the roof. Suppose this is the anterior horn. So the roof is formed by the trunk of the corpus callosum. The anterior wall is formed by the genu of the corpus callosum, and the floor is formed by the rostrum of the corpus callosum. Clear? Very clear. So if this is anterior horn, the roof is formed by the trunk of the corpus callosum, anterior wall is formed by the genu, and the floor is formed by the rostrum of the corpus callosum. Okay, clear? Now we'll proceed further to the medial wall and the lateral wall of the anterior horn. Okay, now if we see here, the medial wall is formed by the septum pellucidum. The medial wall is formed by the septum pellucidum. Okay, and the lateral wall is formed by the head of the caudate nucleus. So you can see here in the diagram, the medial wall is formed by the septum pellucidum, as it was seen in the body of the lateral ventricle. So medial it is formed by the septum pellucidum, and lateral wall is formed by the head of the caudate nucleus. Okay, so roof is formed by the trunk of the corpus callosum. The anterior wall is formed by the genu of the corpus callosum. The floor is formed by the rostrum of the corpus callosum, floor, anterior wall. Okay, medial wall is formed by septum pellucidum, and lateral wall is formed by the head of the caudate nucleus. Okay, so this was about the anterior horn. The next part of the lateral ventricle is the posterior horn. Okay, the next part is the posterior horn. This posterior horn is present in the occipital lobe. Okay, so this is also known as occipital horn. Okay, and it is a backward extension from central part. So if you see, this is the central part. The anterior extension, आगे, the anterior extension was the anterior horn. Now the posterior extension of the central part of the lateral ventricle is the posterior horn. Okay, situation, it is present in the occipital lobe from splenium to the occipital pole. So it is backward extension of the central part. Okay, so if we take, this is the corpus callosum, this is the anterior horn, the body, and now this is, we are talking about the posterior horn. Now posterior horn is extending from the splenium, this is the splenium, to the occipital pole. Okay, there are three poles, frontal, temporal and occipital. So occipital pole, from the splenium, that is the posterior part of the corpus callosum, to the occipital pole is the extent of the posterior horn. Okay, so the extent of the posterior horn, it is extending from the splenium of the corpus callosum to the occipital pole. Okay, now when we are taking a coronal section through the posterior horn, it is quadrangular or diamond in shape. So both central and the anterior horn was somewhat triangular in shape, but when we are taking the coronal section through the posterior horn, it is quadrangular in shape or the diamond in shape. Okay, so this is the bulb of the posterior horn. When you are taking the coronal section, it is quadrangular diamond in shape. It has a roof and lateral wall, floor and medial wall. So it is having the roof and lateral wall, floor and medial wall. The roof, lateral and floor is formed by tapetum. Okay, so this is the tapetum. So this is forming the roof, the lateral and the floor. So this is the posterior horn. We are taking, this is the posterior horn, bulb of posterior horn. The roof, the lateral wall and the floor is formed by the tapetum. Okay, remember this. So the roof, the lateral and the floor is formed by tapetum. Tapetum is fibers from the splenium of the corpus callosum. Splenium is the most posterior part of the corpus callosum, and this tapetum is the fibers which are arising from the splenium of the corpus callosum, and this tapetum forms the roof, the lateral wall and the floor of the posterior horn of the lateral ventricle. Now what is the medial wall? The medial wall is formed by the bulb. Okay, the medial wall is formed by the bulb of the posterior horn. Okay, and it is formed by the calcarine sulcus. Okay, so this you all have to remember. Okay, and these diagrams are very, very important. Okay, so posterior horn, again I repeat, is an occipital horn. This posterior horn, it is a backward extension. Okay, this posterior horn is a present in the occipital lobe, and it is a backward extension of the central part of the lateral ventricle. Situation is in the occipital pole. It extends from the splenium of the corpus callosum to the occipital pole. Situation is occipital lobe. Now presenting parts, when you take the coronal section, it is roughly quadrangular in shape. Okay, now this quadrangular in shape, okay, there is quadrangular in shape or diamond shape. It has a roof, lateral and floor. So the roof, the lateral and the floor is formed by the tapetum. These are the fibers which are coming from the splenium of the corpus callosum, and the medial wall is formed by the bulb of the posterior horn and the calcarine sulcus. Okay, now we'll take the last, that is the inferior or the temporal horn. Okay, this is the inferior horn. So anterior horn we finished, central we finished, posterior we finished, and inferior horn. The inferior horn or the temporal horn It is situation in the temporal lobe. As you can see in the diagram also, it is situated in the temporal lobe. It extends from the meeting point of the central part and the posterior horn to 2.5 centimeter behind the temporal pole. So where the central part and the posterior horn meets, okay, that meeting point to 2.5 centimeter behind the temporal pole. So suppose this is the temporal pole and this is the center and the posterior horn. This is the meeting part where the central part and the posterior horn they meet. From that point to the temporal pole, okay, to the temporal pole, that is 2.5 centimeter behind the temporal pole is your inferior horn. So inferior horn extends from the meeting point where the central part and the posterior horn meets, that point to the temporal pole. And where in the temporal pole? 2.5 centimeter behind the temporal pole is your extension of the inferior horn. Okay. So there is a trigon which is present, which is known as collateral trigon, where the central part, the posterior horn and the inferior horn meets. That is the collateral trigon. Okay. Now, what is the presenting parts? Okay. When we take the coronal section, that is transverse slit, the posterior horn, the inferior horn has the roof and the floor. So when we are taking the coronal section through the inferior horn, it has the roof and the floor. Okay, there is presence of roof and floor. Yes. So coronal section through the inferior horn, there is presence of roof and the floor. Now the roof is formed by the lateral part of tapetum. Okay. Now if you see the section through the inferior horn, okay. So if we take the inferior horn, the section, the roof is formed by the tapetum. Okay. The medial part, okay, the medial part is formed by the tail of caudate nucleus and striae terminalis. Okay. So if you take the lateral part, it is formed by the tapetum. The lateral part is formed by the tapetum. Okay. And the medial part is formed by the tail of caudate nucleus and striae terminalis. So this all you have to remember, students. The lateral part of the inferior horn, the lateral, it is formed by the tapetum, and the medial part is formed by the tail of caudate nucleus and the striae terminalis. The floor is formed from lateral to medial is formed by the collateral eminence, collateral sulcus, the hippocampus, okay, and the choroid plexus. Okay. So this is the inferior horn. Okay, suppose this is here, they have not labeled in. So this is the inferior horn. The lateral part is formed by the tapetum. Okay. The medial part, okay, this is the medial part which is formed by the tail of caudate nucleus and striae terminalis. The floor is formed from lateral to medial with the help of from lateral to medial. This is the fold. So collateral eminence from laterally, then calcane's collateral sulcus, then the hippocampus, and here would be the choroid plexus. Okay. So this is about the presenting parts of the inferior horn of the lateral ventricles. Okay. So you have to remember there are presence of choroid plexus which is present in the central part and the inferior part of the lateral ventricles. This is very, very important. This plexus is, it's a plexus vascular fold. Okay. And it consists of tuft of blood vessels. Okay, that is tuft of blood vessels. Just remember this much only. This choroid plexus is present in the central part. Okay, so this is the choroid plexus. and this plexus is present in the central part of the lateral ventricle and the inferior horn of the lateral ventricle. So this plexus is present in the central part of the lateral ventricle and inferior horn of the lateral ventricle. Very, very important, and it consists of tuft of blood vessels. Okay. Now there is a line of invagination of the choroid plexus into lateral ventricles. This tuft of blood vessels, they invaginate, go through and through into the lateral ventricles, into the body and the inferior horn. This invaginate. Okay. And this line of invagination is derived from the anterior choroidal artery, which is a branch from the internal cerebral artery, and posterior choroidal artery, which is a branch of posterior cerebral artery. Okay. So this is the lateral horn, this is the inferior horn. Through and through this choroid plexus, they passes and forming choroid fissure. And choroid fissure is a line of invagination of choroid plexus into lateral ventricle. It is derived from anterior choroidal artery, which is a branch of ICA, and posterior choroidal artery, which is a branch of PCA. Okay. Posterior cerebral artery, internal cerebral artery. Okay. So this is about the choroid plexus, and main it is present in the central part. Okay. In the central part and the inferior horn of the lateral ventricle. Okay. Now formation circulation of CSF, this CSF is formed in the lateral ventricles. Okay. This CSF is formed in the lateral ventricles. Then from the circulations from lateral to third ventricle, from to fourth ventricle, then the subarachnoid space and the central canal. Okay. So this is the flow which I have shown you. CSF secreted from lateral ventricle goes to third ventricle, from third ventricle it goes to subarachnoid space and then the central canal. Now what is the subarachnoid space? What is the subarachnoid space? The subarachnoid space, okay, is the interval. This is the subarachnoid space, and this is the interval between the arachnoid membrane and the pia mater. You have dura mater, arachnoid membrane and the pia mater, the layers of the meninges. So the space which is present between the arachnoid membrane and the pia mater is the subarachnoid space. So in the subarachnoid space, the CSF circulates. So it is formed in the choroid plexus. This is present on the central part and the inferior horn of the lateral ventricle. From lateral ventricle goes to the third ventricle via the interventricular foramina of Monro. Then from cerebral aqueduct it enters into the fourth ventricle. Then it goes to the subarachnoid space, which is present between the arachnoid membrane and pia mater of the meninges, and then to the central canal. Okay. Next is the applied anatomy. The ventricular system of brain can be visualized. How you will visualize this circulation of the CSF? With the help of CT scan, MRI, ventriculography and air encephalography. Okay. So this way you can visualize the flow of ventricles as well as the proper functioning of the ventricles. Okay. Now important is hydrocephalus, obstruction of the interventricular foramen of Monro. Okay, there is obstruction to the interventricular foramen of Monro, and this obstruction of aqueduct of Sylvius, obstruction of the foramen of Magander and Luschka. Now just remember this is hydrocephalus. You can see this is the normal lateral ventricles and this is the hydrocephalus. You know, it is filled with abdominal fluid. Okay. Now what is the reason for this? What is the reason for this? Now what is hydrocephalus? A build-up of fluid in the cavities deep within the brain. Build-up of fluid in the cavities. Now you know the CSF is flowing through the ventricles. So whenever there is obstruction to the flow of the CSF in the ventricles, this fluid will get piled up. It will get filled in the cavities, and the cavities will become enlarged, big in size. Okay. Now this extra fluid will give pressure on the brain and it can lead to brain damage. It's most common seen in infants and older adults. It is seen in old age as well as in infants. So this is very, very important clinical aspect, okay, of the lateral ventricles, very important aspect. Please remember this. Now you all know this is the flow of CSF. Okay, the flow of CSF. Now this flow of CSF, it is from lateral ventricle to the interventricular foramina. Okay, interventricular foramen of Monro. Okay, there is a just a second, I'll show one diagram important. Okay, so now the lateral ventricle, it flows. Okay, this is the lateral ventricle. Then through the interventricular foramen, you can see it flows to the third ventricle, and from third ventricle goes to the fourth ventricle with the help of cerebral aqueduct. Now whenever there is obstruction to the flow of these ventricles, to the flow of this CSF in the ventricles, the foramina, which is an opening, it gets obstructed. Okay, it is getting obstructed, so it will not flow. There is obstruction here, there is obstruction here, so it will not flow. So the fluid, that is the CSF, will build up in the ventricles. Okay, so the ventricles will get swollen, and this condition is known as hydrocephalus. So this is known as hydrocephalus. You can see the normal flow is obstructed. Okay, so this is lateral, this is the, suppose the third ventricle and the fourth ventricle. This is foramen of Monro, then cerebral aqueduct, fourth ventricle. So this is normal flow. So when there is obstruction, so you can see the size swelling. So this is known as hydrocephalus. What is the treatment? VP shunt, that is ventriculoperitoneal shunt, or you can do ventriculostomy, that is endoscopic third ventriculostomy. You have to just open the obstruction. Okay, the problem is it will increase the intracranial pressure, because this is the swelling, so all the normal structures surrounding the ventricles will go into pressure. So intracranial pressure will increase, and it can lead to brain damage. Okay students, so this was all about the ventricles of the brain. The lateral ventricle, it's a very important topic. Okay, I hope you all must have understood the topic. Okay, thank you students.